So N8N just released version 2, and there's a few different breaking changes that you should be aware of. If you're using the code node with Python, you might want to update or check over your code. And if you're using any sort of executing sub workflows that involves the node, the tool, as well as the trigger. In today's video, what we're going to do is cover specifically the execute sub workflow. We're going to go through two different examples, one with a node, one with the tool, and we'll go into specifically the child workflows associated with each of those. Really quick though, before we do jump into this, I would love to have you guys part of my free school community. We just crossed 300 members, and I like to put some of the different JSON workflows from these videos into that group. We also have live calls there and help each other out. If you're trying to learn N8N, that means you're interested in AI. Either you want to upskill, you run a business and you want to be a little bit more efficient, or you want to join freelancing. And there's a lot of people in that group for those specific scenarios. The link is down below in the description. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at these changes. Okay, so I'm going to have this main workflow over here, and we're going to break it into two different parts. And the first one is just going to be a call sub workflow as a node. And then our second one over here is going to involve an AI agent. So a few things to note. Number one is the data now from the sub workflow is returned to the primary workflow, and it's going to populate specifically in either this node that's right over here, or within your AI agent if you're using the Call N8N Workflow tool. Also, if you're using sub workflows, you need to set these as active or you cannot access these. And just to show you on this side of it, if we go over here to this Call N8N Workflow tool, you can see if I go to workflows, I have two different examples for this video. The child example number one, and you can see that is active. I can choose this workflow. However, sub workflow changes v2 child example. You can see it says must publish before using, and it is grayed out. So let me show you really quick on how we could publish and unpublish. So it's actually quite easy, although it is an extra step. So first, what I'd recommend is save your specific workflows. So autosave is not fully integrated as of yet, unfortunately. That was one of the features I was really hoping for, but it's not there. So how you publish it is you literally just click this publish button, you leave a specific version name, and then also add in a description. Now there's errors, so I can't actually publish this workflow, which is actually a good thing that N8N has this. So I'm just going to go over here and deactivate all of these for you guys, and just we'll go through this process. So has no trigger nodes that require publishing. Oh, well, I have the manual trigger over here. Okay, let me just set a time over here. So on the schedule, and we'll jump through that. So now it should let me publish this. So we'll save it. And what we'll do is say N8N sub workflow. And you can save a specific name, so like V1, and then write a description, right? So I'd put over here like added in schedule trigger. And if you've programmed before or you work in a corporate environment, you might be familiar with how GitHub works. This is very similar, but just version controls so you can see what is changing over and over again. I really like this feature, and something I quite appreciate the N8N team adding in. So we'll click publish, and then it says workflow published, and then you can see all these steps. So I'm just going to unpublish it just to show you how to unpublish it as well. Just a little bit of background information you should know. So just click these three dots over here and then click unpublish. So I'm just going to unpublish that. All right. And what we're going to do is delete that schedule trigger because I don't need that anymore. Great. So let's walk through our first example of this workflow. So what I have is just a manual execute workflow, nothing too spectacular. Then I go in over here to an edit set, and all I'm doing is I'm creating an item called tour, and it's a string, and I just put two bands that just recently tore together, Avenged Unfold and System of a Down. So we have those, and then this is going to go into this call sub workflow. So all I do over here is choose the specific workflow. I'm going over here and choosing the one that's particularly active. And what happens now is we go over into this specific workflow. So just to show you what we can do over here is I have a wait node added in. So first thing we do is grab our data. So I just clicked accept all data, but you could also define specific fields or JSON. And listen, I have a full video already covering execute sub workflows. I might redo that video because of these new changes, but if you want to learn all the nuances behind the nodes, that video is available here on the channel. Just let me know if you need to have that refreshed. Then what I have over here is a wait node like the demo that they talked about. And then I have an edit fields. So all I did is I put this tour again, and I just updated the values. I put A7X in Good Charlotte. And then what you'll see what happens if we go back into our main workflow, you'll see we have tour and it's A7X in Good Charlotte. So this sub workflow will overwrite what is populating in over here. So we have our initial data, A7X in System of a Down. It goes to the sub workflow. The sub workflow runs, and then it sends the data once it's finished back into this sub workflow node, which is really, really cool to do. So now we have this data and we can continue to pass it on along the line. The other change that has happened is particularly with an AI agent. And this is for the human in the loop aspect of it. So why human in the loop? And I do want to make this into a full video. A lot of companies have AI guardrail policies where someone has to review something for an AI agent before it actually happens. Some people think it's a nuance. Some people really want to have that in place. So that's why you want to have human in the loop in some capacity. I'll show you a very basic example of that. So imagine we have a chat message that goes on over here. I'm just going to turn everything on. Let me just turn everything on as well. We're not going to go fully through this example, but we have some sort of chat message that goes through. We use an open AI model, and then we call a sub workflow, which we're going to use in particular for our human in the loop aspect. And then it goes over here for the tool and goes into this workflow, my child example 2. And then we want to send a message. So someone will want to approve what is being responded. And this could either be like a Discord or a Slack or email, whatever you want. It just, some human is reviewing and saying, yes, this is okay, or no, do not approve this. And then that result goes right back into this AI agent. And now we have that additional information. So that is the new change with the particular tool. So just to give you kind of a recap on how these changes work, the first one, what we have is the specific node. And with this node, we have our second workflow over here, and the data is getting populated back in the node for whatever the end result is here. And you have to make sure that this workflow is published. Our second example, we're using the Call N8N Workflow tool as a way to use human in the loop. We have another workflow, which again, you should publish this. I didn't publish this because I don't have Discord set up yet in N8N. I'm sure I'll make a video on it in the future. I was thinking either Discord or Slack, but just haven't used those over here in my cloud instance. And we use the human in the loop, like, okay, let's approve this before it goes back into the AI agent. So it sends a message to a user, they approve it, and then the AI agent has that context, that information like, hey, this tool, it's approved, you're good to go. And that is essentially the sub workflow changes in N8N version 2. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We have well over 60 different N8N videos here. We're publishing probably 3 to 4 videos every single week. So you can check out the playlist. We also have a free school community, and yeah, we're trying our best to increase the channel. So hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in another video.